What's up, my fellow scruffy looking nerf herders, and welcome to the Carbonite Chat. Today I'm going to be doing a little video on why actually The Last Jedi is basically a complete ripoff of Empire Strikes Back. Everybody complained about The Force Awakens being a ripoff of New Hope. There's, some conversation there on that, but if you look at plot point by plot point, step by step, The Last Jedi is just basically a 100% ripoff of Empire Strikes Back, with just the end of Return of the Jedi kind of thrown in there in the middle, because why not? Surprise. If you're thinking like, no, it's not, it's because you're concentrating on visuals as opposed to thematic. Like thematically, it continues along. Let's begin with it and let's see if I'm right or wrong here. The movie opens and there's an attack from the Empire. The First Order, and then the rebels, resistance. Figure this out, and they're trying to escape and get off planet as the Empire or Resistance attacks. Now, again, as I kind of played around there, both of those could be stated for the exact same thing. Then you have the Resistance and the Rebellion both get off planet, and then you have them fleeing from the Empire or the First Order in this case. Then it jumps to the next thing that's happening is that a Jedi, or a wanting to be Jedi, goes to find the Master Jedi. Empire Strikes Back, Luke to Yoda. Last Jedi, Rey to Luke. Both of them, when you first meet them, they're never what you expected. Now Luke is not what we expected because terrible writing. Yoda is not what we expected because he's kind of playing a role. Of course, Rian Johnson didn't get this after the goofiness that he portrayed. He then became much more serious and actually taught us something. But as far as beat by beat we're going here, they had the attack, they fled away, then we jump to a Jedi meeting a Master and them not getting along. Then the Master doesn't want to train the Jedi, again for different reasons, but it was following the outline of Empire Strikes Back. Then, as they don't want to train, it goes back and it shows that the Empire or First Order is chasing the other main characters that we've had. Now, in this one, there was nothing really happening. They were just following along, but that's the main plot line that we're kind of following here. Is this going on right here of them chasing after each other and following each other? The one difference that he kind of added into this was the Canto Bight stuff. He kind of added that. There was this third storyline that didn't exist in Empire Strikes Back, which is kind of interesting because it's one of the things that everyone, even the people that like the movie, said it was terrible. So it's kind of interesting that that's the one part that he kind of added onto there. But you have, in Empire Strikes Back, you have Han and Leia and the Falcon fleeing from the Empire the entire time. There's a pause of a moment to build characters, which wasn't really taken that much in The Last Jedi, but there's that pause, but then as soon as they escape, then it's right back to chasing before they end up heading to Bespin. But the main premise is they're fleeing from the Empire, just as the Resistance is fleeing from the First Order. Then we go back. The Jedi decides to finally train. The Master decides to train the Jedi somewhat. And so they begin to train, and then the Jedi decides that there's a cave and they go into it because they want to know what's inside the cave. Now, again, there's slight differences how each thing's done, but it's the same thing. Luke goes into a dark side cave. Rey goes into a dark side pond cave kind of thing. And they both see something. And they both see something, or trying to see something along the same lines. It's confusing. The difference is there was payoff in the Empire Strikes Back one, and there wasn't really payoff in the Rey one. You can... We won't get into whether or not the story was right. The whole point of this is that it copies it. So they both do the exact same thing there. Then later on, the Jedi says that she wants to go off and she needs to go help. And Luke said he needed to go help. Both of the Masters say, no, you don't need to do that. They both go anyways. And so again, it's just following along on these different things. And then we get it, and she goes there. Luke went there, and here we have largely skip where we just copy Return of the Jedi here. But right after that, we then have the finale of Empire Strikes Back, where we have a reveal of a parent, the shocking no, it's not the same, but she's like, no, it's not. And he's like, search your feelings. You know this is true. I think, which is actually, as I say that, a Vader line. Maybe I'm getting them too confused. As I said, they're trying to copy each other so much. You even have the reaching out of Vader reaching out of Kylo with his hand, just as Vader reached out, and he's trying to talk. Kylo's trying to talk Rey into joining him to rule the galaxy, that they can do better. Just like Vader was reaching out to Luke. And both of them turn him down. So see, this is essentially just a beat by beat copy. Yeah, there's some differences in there. And some bad choices in my mind. But even if you want to argue, if you didn't like The Force Awakens because you said it copied, but you like The Last Jedi, are you being hypocritical? I'm not calling you hypocritical, but are you being hypocritical? Because I think you could argue The Force Awakens is visual correlation to the whole trilogy more so than just A New Hope, more than thematics. Each little point, if you break it down, they're completely different how things are going on, such as what the main character is doing. The droid being given something, is that a key point to the story, or is it just the MacGuffin that causes the story to begin moving forward? Does that come into play with the overall story? These different things, thematically, is it about galaxy control, or is it against dark versus evil? Here we go, though, on The Last Jedi, plot point by plot point, it just boom, boom, like, again, I could have done it the whole time. I could have explained Empire Strikes Back, and it would have been The Last Jedi, minus Canto Bight, and then minus Crate on the end, which is kind of a visual remake of Empire Strikes Back. So you even have the visual callback at the end of it. He just placed it at the end. And again, it's visuals that everyone catches, so everyone kind of mentioned that Crate looks like Empire Strikes Back on Hoth, but really it's the beat by beats that is the actual story ripoff, much like Point Break, or Fast and the Furious was a ripoff of Point Break. It was just done with cars. And Avatar was a ripoff of Dances with Wolves. But it was done with blue alien characters. But the story is what's ripped off. And that's what's ripped off here with The Last Jedi. It just tries to do odd subversions. But it's not creative. It's not art. He's not doing anything special. He's just ripping it off point by point. And if you thought, man, this movie's long, now you see why. Because there's an overall story written for Empire Strikes Back, a very brilliantly well-paced, well-timed, well-put together, just brilliant film. And he tried to take that outline and copy it, and then add on a whole nother ending on the end of it. So if you were watching it, and you got to that point, and you're like, oh God, we still got Crate here. That's because, now you see, that's what happened. He took the outline of Empire Strikes Back, changed up the middles between each little point that you step through on the plot, and then added a whole nother scene out here, and then added a whole nother scene over here. But anyways, I thought that was interesting, looking at it, kind of breaking it down as it came into my mind and I began seeing it. It was so obvious, and I haven't really heard anyone talk about it. Everybody talks about how it's such a departure, which I get that, mythos wise, lore wise, character wise, on a lot of, it doesn't make sense. There's little respect paid to what came before it, but yet copies a lot. And so I just wanted to present that as something different from some of the other comments that I've been making about it, or other people have been making about the movie. Someone may have said this before, I'm not sure. But anyways, those are my thoughts. Comment down below, tell me what you think about it. Have you noticed that? Does it change your opinions on it? Either way, whether you hated it or liked it. I'm sure if you hated it, it's not going to make you like it. But I look forward to hearing your thoughts. I post more of my videos right here. I also have a link to my TeePublic page down below. Thank you guys for watching, and never forget, you Nerf herders, I love you.